Isaac, how are you, sir?
Good evening, Ryan. I'm good. Yourself?
Happy Monday to you. We are back at the game chat, and we're going to be talking about some games tonight. Are you ready? Oh, that was my phone. I'm muting it now.
I thought it was me again. I thought
no, it's me being unprofessional this time. It happens every other day. So cool.
I'm ready to talk. Rolling rights, awesome. Flipping rights, rolling rights.
Yeah, rolling rights, flipping rights. My dog is actually running around. So do you guys hear that? It's amazing. His jingling collar. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about rolling rights, but we actually have a guest tonight, which is super exciting. So why don't you introduce our guest, man? So.
I'd love to. Our guest is a good friend of mine. Wait, time out before I go any further. Okay. Isaac is. You see the first comment on
No,
this?
I didn't. Let me see.
Our guest is a good friend of mine.
Oh man. Isaac's always unprofessional. That's so sad.
And that's one of my teammates too. So
yeah.
Right. But our guest tonight is a good friend of mine. I've gotten to know him over the years, back in our dice mastering days, a little bit when we played some competitive light seekers, and it's been an honor to kind of help talk along his journey as he just ascends to some cool stuff in the board gaming area, and that's my man Jazz Cruz from the lobby of Hobbies. How's it going, Jazz?
It's going good, guys. Thanks so much, Ryan and Isaac, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. How's that intro? Is that a good intro? Did you like that?
I thought it was gonna be a little bit more humble, but it was, I'm like, you know me, I'm a humble person, and you kind of soup me up a little bit there. It's like,
we'll talk a little more about your channel, towards the end, but yeah, I mean, we love you. We're happy to have you. We're glad this worked out for sure.
No, it's an honor. I love what you guys are doing here. It's, just a chill, laid back, talk. Anytime you're talking games, yeah. I'm in.
Awesome. Sure. And you're the classiest looking one on the show tonight. You came in with the polo shirt, and we're just dressed like slobs. So
listen, I just pretty much ended work not too long ago, so it's like I didn't even have time to change a shirt. But I probably would have.
The funny part is I changed into this shirt from like a bed shirt just before you popped in. So then I only came back to be like, wow, I'm now the least classy person on the show.
Oh man.
So it's good stuff.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, so we're talking about games. We're going to be talking about roll and rights tonight. We're going to be talking about some of the ones that we played when we were kids, some of the ones that we love now, and then, of course, we'll talk about what we're playing and what we're bringing to the table in our very own homes. So roll and rights growing up, it's one of those things that roll and rights probably 4 or 5 years ago, that was like the hot thing. That was the hot mechanic. But roll and rights have been around for a long time in different forms. So let's talk about the ones we grew up with.
Jazz, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start because it'll make it quick. I don't have any that I grew up with. It's funny because I didn't grow up playing much, playing many board games. Like it was Monopoly. If you wanted to think of something where you actually had to roll a die and write, the only game that I probably played when I was younger was Clue. You rolled a die to move your character and you wrote on paper. That's probably the only thing that I would, if I want to cheat a little bit. But I want to say, even before I got into the hobby, the first, I guess if you would consider it a roll and write, it would be like categories. You roll the die, you're trying to figure out what letter. So that's probably the only legit roll and write that I played. I started playing what we would consider roll and rights to this day in modern board gaming just last year. So I'll mention which one it was, but yeah, I'll let you guys go because you guys are the experts. I know Isaac loves roll and rights, and hearing him rave about them so much kind of piqued my interest.
So actually, Categories was when I put in the list of ones that I played growing up. Categories was in there, and I put a question mark by it just in case Isaac was going to call bullcrap on that. Isaac looked at it. I don't know about that. So
I like it. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, this is as a format. I mean, Ryan and I really have one. You added one more as your second choice, but I really could think of one personally. I mean, I'm going to throw it out there so you can mention the other one you have is Yahtzee. Man, I don't like Yahtzee was it. Like we had the stack of games that were under the record player growing up, right? Like, and it was Monopoly, it was Scrabble, it was Yahtzee, it was Clue, it was that awful Racco game. It was Mexican dominoes. It was another set of dominoes. It was a third set of dominoes.
And the dominoes were always missing like one or two, but you didn't know which one, and nobody was willing to like sort them all out. So.
but Yahtzee was an easy one to grab. We play Yahtzee all the time. Shake the cup, kick the dice, make things work. Keep trying harder and harder for Yahtzee. I remember having a little handheld electronic Yahtzee. That my wife and I would play like when we were first married or engaged. Like just simple, like it's an easy game, and we'll talk about
Tiger Electronics one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk about why those are why they're easy games. But that was the one that came to mind for me personally, for sure.
So Yahtzee, when I was growing up, my family loved Yahtzee. My dad likes dice games. He likes something easy, but he kind of likes that pressure luck type thing. And so Yahtzee was a really big game for us growing up. That was one of the ones where when my uncle would come visit, my uncle and my aunt, they would come down from New York, and we play Yahtzee just sitting around and play Yahtzee for hours. And so I have good memories of Yahtzee. But that was my original roll and write. And then the other one I put in the list was actually Boggle. So if you think about it, you're taking that shaker. Like I was into word games only after I met Boggle and Categories. Those were the two word games that I really liked. And so you take that shaker and you just mix around the dice, and then they all sit into the grid, and then you got to start writing, and Boggle is a roll and write, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
What's funny is Yahtzee is one I just never played. It's just even till this day I still have never played it.
You've never played Yahtzee, really?
I still have never played Yahtzee. I what's funny is when everybody thinks of like something like Dice Throne, they always say it's like Battle Yahtzee, and I see Stewart's comment, Dice Throne. It's like that's what everybody's like. Oh, Dice Throne is like Battle Yahtzee, and I've never ever played Yahtzee. Yeah, but I know the concept, but still never got a chance to play it.
King of Tokyo, Dice Throne. I mean, they owe everything to Yahtzee.
Yeah.
Yep. And there have even been games that what was the fantasy Yahtzee game that I think it wasn't Blue Orange, but it was kind of made for families. It was like Fana Yahtzee or whatever, and
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, so it looked pretty cool. So I think the custom dice and stuff, and nice. So yeah, it's a mechanic that has gone a long way, I guess. So
for sure.
Yep. So we wanted to ask the question, why does this type of game, why do roll and writes in particular work for families and new gamers? I feel like they're easy to introduce. Actually some of the people that we've introduced to board games, introducing them into a roll and write is actually a really easy way to get them involved and get them to pay attention and play something that is not too difficult. So why is that? Why is this such a good avenue to introduce people to?
No, I like them. I think you said it right, Ryan. One thing is they're easy to learn. They're quick to. I have it down here. Easy to learn, quick to teach, and they play fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. Anytime you're introducing new gamers to a game, I've run into this experience a lot where I want to always teach the Cult of the New, because if it's the Cult of the New, for me, I'm super excited to get it to the table.
Yeah.
But where I run into the issue, and my wife kind of has to put me in check a lot, is she catches everybody else's look at the table when I'm trying to teach a new game, and everybody's like really confused. But with roll and writes, it's pretty much just you roll the die and kind of do what that die allows you to do. So there, anything that also can play in a short amount of time, 30 to 45 minutes, you're going to get a chance for more people to want to even try it, whether they like it or not. It's something that short time, that play time is, I think, crucial.
Absolutely. Yep.
We had one comment over on our Game of Sidekicks page. I just watch if people put stuff over there, but Simon said that he actually played Yahtzee turn-based with their online group. I'm guessing with like BGA or something.
Okay, yeah.
He said he was mocking them, like, I don't know if we should play this, but he really enjoyed still getting a chance to play it. So,
well, at the beginning of the pandemic, we actually there was a family from our church that we were talking about, hey, why don't we play something over Zoom? And I didn't want to teach a new game, and so what I did was I sent them some Yahtzee sheets just digitally that they could either fill out on their phone or they can just print out on their home computer, and we ended up playing Yahtzee for like an hour, and it was really, really fun. We had a really good time. They had dice on their side, we had dice on our side. We just threw dice and laughed and joked. It was really fun. So
it's perfect. Yeah, some of the best Zoom games we played with some of our friends, other friends, Jason and Becky specifically during the kind of start of the pandemic, like were Welcome To, were Gons, were what was the other one I was just thinking we did with what's the Patchwork? Patchwork has a roll and write, so they're super easy. Everybody has their sheet. I found places you could print sheets even if you didn't have them. Like I think I threw an article together about that early on, where it was like easy, as long as one person has the game, you still could manage to print some sheets and have a good time with it.
Yep. And then Welcome To, they actually have Welcome To, like the sheet on an app that you can use. Yep. So that's one of the things we noticed. It's roll and writes are very accessible for even when you're not gaming in person. So some of the ones that we did over Zoom, we did Yahtzee, of course, we did Welcome To. We ran a live stream with Welcome To, but then I also got together with just different. There was a night where we actually had a couple couples that they were like, we haven't played games in so long. We need to play something. I was like, okay, I'll teach everybody Welcome To. And so we all jumped in, and it was just like 4 couples, and we all played Welcome To, and it was great time. Truck Off, the roll and write game. That one was a good one. Teaching that to some friends. They came by, we attached them to our mailbox, the sheets. They drove by, picked up the sheets, and then like a week later, we were like, you guys got time? Let's play. So
that's awesome.
Yep. It was really good. So
yeah, we did that with some Welcome To. The first roll and write I actually played was Cartographers over Zoom, or actually over not Zoom, but over I think a Facebook chat. One of my buddies, Oscar Valera. I don't know if you guys know him. He does a lot of the 3D printing, but him and his buddy Mike, they did Mike DePasquale. They hosted a just teaching cartographers over Facebook during the pandemic. And that was the first time I played. I was like, I was honest, I was kind of reluctant to roll and write just because I was like, is this really gimmicky? There's so many coming out. And, when I played cartographers, I was like, wow, there's some strategy here, but it's something that, you can kind of get anybody into. Yeah. Again, quick to learn, right?
And another thing about roll and writes that really works to its benefit is there's not a lot of downtime. So I'm thinking about like Fleet the Dice game. You're picking dice, you're writing, so even when it's somebody else's turn on most roll and writes or flip and writes, you're doing something. And so people who have either ADD or they don't like paying attention for long periods of time, like it moves quickly and you have something to do at all times. I don't know of a lot of roll and writes that have a lot of downtime, which is nice.
Yeah, that's and that was the big thing I said from why it was great for family was because it's that quick and easy. Like, I'm like, I kind of want to play a game. The family's kind of waning towards maybe no after dinner. I grab something that's in that 20-30 minute range and keep both my teenage kids involved. And something that everybody is involved, like Ryan's saying, keeps everyone engaged at the table, like Quicks, like Bloom that we talked about here in the recent past, where everybody has to pay attention to the dice games. One of my my nemesis favorites is Rolling America.
That
one, it's so difficult. Like it seems so easy when you start. You're like, it's kind of like an American map. You're matching up colors and numbers, but numbers can't be next to each other unless they're the same or one higher or lower. It's only 1 through 6. But as your map starts to kind of compress, you start realizing you have less and less choice, and it's puzzly, but it's not. It takes me 30 seconds to tell somebody how to play that, right? Literally.
Yeah,
right?
I feel like on tour is that same type of puzzly. You start to make decisions, you feel comfortable, and then it starts to get harder and harder. And then you're just like, you're kind of racking your brain, like, what can I do to make this work? And you're trying to solve your way out of a bag, or a box, with,
that's another one I haven't played. I tried to play the online version. I think I just need somebody to I think I need an in-person play with that.
I played it a couple times at Tantrum Con in 2019. So.
Yeah, I played the app version. That's the only version I've played was the app, and it works. It works well. But still, I think like Isaac was saying, that's the one that for me, it really hasn't like stuck just because, I think, having it physically in person, but I know some people who love it. They have it as their top roll and write or,
really,
but that's just
one. It's popular.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, what are some of your favorite roll and writes in right now? Whether it's a roll and write that you've recently played, or something that's stuck with you over the past year or two, or something that your family gravitates toward. What are your top roll and writes right now?
I'll let you go, Isaac.
I got a bunch. Like I could do this all day, but like my I'd say my family's favorite, like my wife especially, is just straight up just Ganchan clever. Like she loves this game. She plays all day. She wants to play this version, not the app version. She wants to get the dice out, roll them, write on the paper. Like, and I could play this 5 times in a row and be just happy trying to beat my last score. And I love Gons. It's so simple and easy. I know it's the hot thing for a while, but it still gets a lot of rotation. For us. So that's one.
I'll steal one because you might take it.
Go for it.
For me, it's Cartographers. Like hands down, that gets the most play. My wife loves it. Yeah, my wife loves it. She's one who, I think a lot of us as kids, we had a Game Boy, we played Tetris, and trying to fit those shapes into that, that grid. But I think anyone who played Tetris can like fall in love with this game because the way the board, the area is laid out, it reminds me of Tetris. You're putting them down. You just have to figure out where you're going to do it. But it's just, there's so much to it. There's so much strategy. I can never beat my wife. And if you've ever like enjoyed a game where, you're competitive against someone and you always want to go back and try and win, this is one that no matter how much I lose, I want to play it right again. And it plays fast. The more you play it with people who understand it, it plays quick. And I was fortunate enough to get a prototype of Cartographers Heroes, and we love that. And that one is like, I'm super excited for when that fulfills, because that one, it's just everything. They added enough to that to make it different for people who have played so much Cartographers, but it's still, I think it's still simple enough to kind of introduce to people who are completely new to the hobby as well.
Yeah. So Jason Evans says, we love Lanterns Dice. That's one that doesn't get a ton of love. I brought Lanterns Dice into work. We were on a roll and write kick for a while, but Lanterns Dice was really, really good as a lunchtime game. It plays quickly, tough decisions. You're trying to basically block out these different things and collect as many bonuses as you can on a turn. It's really, really good. And then Stuart says, On Tour kicks our butt every time. That's a tough game.
That's because a lot of games kick Stuart's butt. That's the real truth about
Stuart, it. No love. Oh man, I don't even know Stuart, and I feel bad for him. So one that
Ryan, what do you got?
So Metro X was one that actually Aaron got me for Christmas this past year. I actually like this a lot more than Aaron does, but this one's tricky. You've got these rail lines and you're trying to cross out certain things and you don't want to get yourself stuck. And I've definitely got myself stuck a couple times. You're flipping out cards and you never know when that round is going to end. It's just a really, really good game. The reshuffle card comes back around and then you end up reshuffling and starting with the new deck of cards. So it's really good. So Bob is messaging as One Board Family.
Give his second quote there. I'm
technology, yeah. So, this is the best. I'm dumb at Facebook. So that's good.
Sorry, Bob. We still love you.
That is One Board Family's official stance on Facebook. We're dumb at it. So that's good. So, Hank has a question for you, Isaac. How is Gons different than its sequel?
So what's interesting is Gons has a sequel called Twice as Clever, right? Which changes up completely. It's a completely different board. It's hard to even call it a sequel because it's different things on the game. It's still rolling dice, still picking, and that. But I was gonna save this for the end. But I got a package in the mail today. Ironically, like unexpected package from Stronghold called Cleaver Cubed, which I guess the new release. I didn't even know this was coming out.
Nice.
They must have knew we were going to talk about this, but it says it says this is our follow-up to the smash hit That's Pretty Clever. So this is actually what they consider their follow-up to Gons, which is kind of interesting. So the board looking at some of the pictures, the board looks very similar, more similar to the original Gons. But as Stuart said on there, the twice as clever is definitely, there's more going on, more patterns, more things trying to kick. And this one, literally, like, the board looks very, very identical to the original. So
interesting. Okay,
excited to try this one.
That's really cool.
Yeah, another favorite of mine. I don't have the box here; it's probably stored away somewhere. But I know Bob's a huge fan of it. I think at PAX Unplugged, he was the one who I think picked it up or was teaching people. I didn't get a chance to play it then, but Silver and Gold.
Silver and Gold,
it's so
that's
good.
A flipping right. I don't even think of it. I think of it as a card game. I was talking to Isaac about how it's such a great card game. Just it's inventive in the way that you can write on cards, and it just changes the way that you interact with the game. And so, that is a fantastic flipping right. That is excellent.
It's something that you could teach in 5 minutes, and you can play game after game. And for me, it just never gets boring. Everyone that I've introduced that to loves it. I want to say that's probably the first one I would bring to the table to just introduce to someone. It's going to be that, and gradually, if they like that, then I'd gradually teach them other stuff. Like Cartographer's Welcome to is another one, and the first one that was actually in my collection, but I hadn't played it until after I was like, I really like this, was Harvest Dice.
I love Harvest Dice.
Harvest Dice is so good. I think it's just trying to figure out where you're going to put those fruits. Those vegetables, you have 3 vegetables you're trying to fit in your garden. But the mechanic of you can't place them, you always have to place them. I think it's adjacent to each other, and you can't just put one over here, one over there. It makes it super puzzly, but it's super easy. And when I think of this, I always say, for someone who is not into gaming, but they like puzzles like crosswords or Sudoku, I always say, I think you'll enjoy a roll and write or a flip and write, because you're just, filling in the puzzle of trying to, maximize, your placement of what you're putting into that grid or whatever, or on that piece of paper.
Becoming more efficient. Efficiency is the name of the game with all these roll and writes. So Harvest Dice was one of those games that when we first played it, I remember it was probably one of those roll and writes that were earlier in the evolution of roll and writes. And so, I fell in love with Harvest Dice. We played it a lot. We actually, for the One Board Family Patreon, we actually give a reverse birthday present. So when our birthday rolls around, our anniversary as a site, we give away a game to all of our Patreon, all of our people at a certain tier on our Patreon. And so what's cool is, years ago, I loved that game so much. We were like, we have to give that as the game for Patreon donors this year. And so that was it. I was so excited to get a stack of copies of those things and send them out to people.
Mail them out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So another one of my favorites that was actually my boy Randy, who's on our team, part of our Game of Sidekicks team. He's a big punk, alternate, he loves the stuff that kind of exists in that world. Spider-Punk's his favorite. He really loves kind of that scene, and he was super excited for this game just based on the theme. He managed to win a copy before it came to the US, and the recent past it's been picked up by Eagle Griffin, so it's easily accessible, and that's Tag City. Tag City is probably, I would say, if you throw them all out there and say, which one do I want to play? This one's probably, without ruling out hotness, right? I'm more likely to grab the new thing because that's just where my brain goes. But, ones I've played a bunch, I love Tag City.
Yeah.
The boards are very different. Have either of you played this one?
No, but I've seen you post about it, and I see a lot of people who have played it love it.
For what you're saying, Jazz, with your wife liking the polyomino stuff, that's all this is. This is polyomino fills.
Really?
Oh,
and
nice.
It's and the cool thing is the boards, just little things. The boards are different because they are two, one side is very like linear squares that you're trying to fill, and the other side it gets a little different. So it gives a very different game each time. But you're trying to complete columns and rows, and you get more points if you complete it first, less points if you complete it second, kind of like Welcome to. But you're also trying to fill in areas, and the dice rolling is kind of cool because you're rolling these dice, and there's little polyomino shapes that are going to go around here, and you lay the dice on top of that shape. So if I roll a bunch of 3s, I'm going to put them with the shape that matches that, and it could go with 1 and 2 shapes. And then it's a you pick, everyone else choose, right? So like I divvy them out, everyone else gets their pick, and then I get what's left.
Okay.
And so like I love that part of it, but it's all just, I mean, it's polyomino fill, and I know, you know, if you're saying your wife really likes that, like you're just going to get these cool little like tag polyomino pieces that you throw in there and kind of draw the shapes on. So highly recommend this now that's available in the US easily through Eagle Griffin.
That's really cool. I'm going to have to get that now because I've heard you talk about it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, Three Sisters was one of the really impressive games that we've seen this year. Three Sisters. This is from Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle, and this is kind of like the next evolution of Fleet the Dice game. This is all about backyard gardening and running like a family farm. It is so much fun. I love the feel of this one. I love the tough decisions. I love going down different routes and saying, okay, what am I going to do this time? How am I going to improve my farm? Am I going to focus on bees? Am I going to focus on flowers? Am I going to go to the farmer's market more often? There's a lot to think about in Three Sisters, and I think that fulfills later this year, but it is definitely one of the most impressive roll and writes. So, yeah,
I haven't had the chance to play that, but I have seen it. I know I backed it the moment.
Oh, yeah, I backed it. Day one, your recommendation.
So good.
Yeah, everyone that said, Fleet the Dice game is from the same designers, right? I said, I'm gonna back it just off of that. And I never played Fleet the Dice game, but so much it was hard to get, I think, until recently they started, getting more, like I think another printing, but just based off of that alone, I backed it. So one of those crazy blind backs where you like just go off of what everybody else says, and then when it gets there, you see how great it is, all the read that it got.
You'll be happy with this one. It's awesome. Really good. So I was going to throw one more out there because I've actually only played it once, and we just got a copy of it. It's called Lots Filled In. This is going to be going to Kickstarter if you know the game Lots. So this is a really cool roll and write from it has that feeling of building and trying to fill in just the right. It's got that Tetris feel to it, filling in just the right gaps and just the right spaces. And it actually uses color pencils to do it. So this is a really cool game that you're going to see in July come to Kickstarter. So look for that one.
It's awesome. You see Stuart's response to Jazz's backing.
Yeah.
There you go. Blind back is the only back.
You get those notifications, right? You're like, oh, your 10 friends all back this game. I'm like, I guess I got to go look at this game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's where I was this last week with Mosaic. I was like, am I going to back this? And then everybody starts backing. I'm like, oh, I need to play this thing. And then I just backed it anyway. And then I'm gonna try and play it real soon. Simon said he wants to get a game online of it, so we're gonna get a chance to learn that. In case anybody else is interested. I'm just gonna move you into it.
That's cool.
I got one more I want to put that's like a favorite. It's not new, but I played this at Origins. This is one of those, like, how when Star Realms hit big, like it was just kind of hot and everybody started buying it up and then it was gone. Mm-hmm. And you have that at every Origins. It seems like there's a game or two that like is the hot thing. Yeah. And this thing kind of took off weirdly. I knew about it because I had some affiliation with Steve Jackson Games at the time. But man, this thing sold out like crazy.
Deadly Doodles,
Deadly Doodles, like, and there's Deadly Doodles 2 now. Mm-hmm. But like these boards are super solid. Mm-hmm. Like, it's an easy game. It's super light. I mean, it really is not a hard game to play at all. No. But they're just the art's great. Like I love Katie Cook stuff. She's done some Munchkin fun, art in the past, and there's just something about this game that to me, it's like it's fun to kind of do the dungeon crawl and
Yeah.
try and blow people up at the same time. Like under 20. Most of these games are very inexpensive.
Yeah,
Right,
which is nice.
Yep.
You know, $15 to $20, and you're going to get hours and hours and hours of fun.
Right.
I think the only drawback to roll and writes is you may run out of paper. You know, for something like Deadly Doodles, you've got the whiteboards, which is great. One that we don't hear a lot about. Have you guys played Kokoro? Do you know that one?
No.
I do not.
Oh man, Kokoro is so good. It's a flip and write, and it's a route building game where you're trying to go through specific shrines that are on a board, and each round there's a new goal to go through a specific shrine, and each round is going to close out at a specific time, like when a certain number of cards come out, a certain color of card, I think it's yellow cards come out. That's when the round ends. So a round may be 15, 16 cards long, or a round might be 6, you know? So it's all about like, what can you do with the time that you have and the space that you've got, and the different angles that come out, because you have to use the angle as it's shown on the card that direction. So it's really good.
Yeah, that's one I think Bob talked about a lot. I think he was the one who told me about it.
Kokoro is so good. And the thing is, I'm really bad at it. Like, my son beats me in Kokoro every time we play, but I love playing it. Like, I'll play that all day. And my wife, on the other hand, she's tried really hard to like it. Nope. She does not like it at all. So
I don't listen to anything Bob says, so I have no idea if he's talking about that.
Yeah. I don't know that name. So. Oh man. So I think we've talked about some of the up and coming favorites. You know, I talked about lots filled in. That's going to be coming to Kickstarter. One that Isaac's been talking a lot about is Hadrian's Wall. So Bob,
let me grab this one.
So last week,
so heavy.
Yeah.
This is not an inexpensive roll and write.
Okay.
So let's be clear.
This is the opposite side of it. Yeah.
This is a $50 plus game.
Mm-hmm.
It is heavy as heck. It's too huge. I don't know if you guys have seen people post. It's like you kind of need the magnifying glass. Like, I'm looking forward to teaching my wife this one. I think she'll like it after she gets the rhythm of it. But like, the print is so small. Like, we're
going full screen with you.
Yeah, I mean, if you go in full screen, there we go. Like, I mean, you've got some little, I don't know if it's going to even focus in. Yeah, some little print on these guys. But you talk about, like, if you like things that, like in Gons, that go back, forth, like, you're hitting things on this box. Like, you're checking off this box that comes down to check that box to kick 2 of those, which gets you back here, and then jumps over to this board, and then 2 things over here jump back here. And it's like, there's so much going on. It's got some really great little wooden meeples in here, and the cards that go with it. But honestly, it moves fast. I think no matter the player count, and I've done a few different player counts, everybody's playing about the same speed. You play a little bit off of your partners, some of the cards they have, but for the most part, it's solo. It really isn't a lot of interaction, but there's so much planning, and that you can't not pay attention during this game, because you're gonna be like, okay, I got 2 yellow resources, I got to grab those, but then that gave me this. And if I got distracted at one point, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where I'm at in this turn. Trying to grab my stuff. But you talk about heavy rolling rights, like Fleet's heavy. What's
Three Sisters? Three Sisters is heavy.
Which I haven't had a chance to play.
This
is heavy, but it's not hard.
Okay.
There's just a lot going on in this game.
And I think as roll and writes have matured, honestly, I like the fact that you can go with the roll and write like Harvest Dice, which is fun and silly and a little puzzly. And then you can get something like Hadrian's Wall, and it can be a full, like, hour-long think fest. And then at the end, you're like, man, whew, that was rough, but I'm glad I played, and I love that this genre has that depth,
Oh yeah, I'm just looking up real quick on BGG. It rates Hadrian's Wall as a 3.15.
Weight.
I mean, that's for a roll right. That's fairly heavy.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. So yeah, Simon said, "I don't think you put Hadrian's Wall close enough to the camera, Isaac." So,
I was doing the best I could.
those ant-sized pieces, people on the pieces of paper. So cool.
But yeah, this is one I'm really looking forward to teaching to my normal Thursday night game group. I think they'll really like it. There's definitely a push to the teach because it's not a quick teach. I'm a quick teacher. Like I like to go through, get to the point and go, but there's so much going on that board that you got to make sure your group is prepared to know this is going to take 20 plus minutes for me to teach this, which to me is a crazy long time to teach a game.
Yeah. Yep. Jazz, is there a roll and write on the horizon that you are excited for, or something that's recently been released? I know you said something about Cartographer's Heroes that you're really excited about that release when it fulfills.
Yeah, that's one I think if someone is definitely new to the this genre of games, but they like, maybe they haven't gotten their hands on Cartographers, or they're trying to figure, I don't know if I'll like it. Don't be afraid. This is when you can jump right in at Heroes and, later go get the original base game. But it's great. I right now, if I was to say my favorite, roll and writes, hands down, it's Cartographers. But one that I've recently played, I did a preview for. It was part of the not Dice Hospital, the Dice Theme Park campaign, which was the Dice Hospital emergency roll. That one was really good. It's quick to play. It gives you. I've never played Dice Hospital, so other people who have played it say it still gives you that same type of feel. But my wife really enjoyed it, and it's one that it's puzzly enough, but not too complicated. But like having to figure out those. Like where you're putting your patients in, and which there's some like combos where you're trying to pick off certain what they call ambulance bonuses that you're trying to take, and it's very crucial which bonuses you take at a certain time, because that's what's going to help you combo off your turns.
Nice.
That was really fun. If you're a big fan of Welcome To, this is one to check out, because it gives you that Welcome To feel where the numbers have to go in sequential order from the front of the hospital or the hospital wards to the back. But I really enjoy that one, and one that I know I didn't get my hands on, and Isaac probably has it there somewhere, is the baseball highlights roll and write. Yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of baseball highlights. It's probably it's my top 3 deck builder, but
nice.
That I backed day one. It says baseball highlights, so I backed it. Not only being a baseball fan, but being a fan, a fairly new fan to this genre of games. What I saw on it was great, and I saw Isaac post a picture of it, and the first thing I did, he posted a picture. I didn't even comment. I texted him right away, and I says, "So, how is it?" And he responded. He says, "It's good." He's so
those dice are awesome.
Nice.
I don't play solo games. I really don't. I'm blessed to have a lot of people to play games with, first and foremost. Yeah. Right. And this is one I played to learn solo because I wanted to get content out on it really quick. Yeah. And I actually played it a couple of times. So like in a hotel room, loved it.
That's really cool.
It was enough that like I would sit down and Hadrian's Wall is probably gonna be the other one I play solo at some point in the near future, because I want to get more of a rhythm of each of it. But this one's awesome.
That's cool.
Jason's got a good question actually.
Yeah, Jason says, what about roll and cut games like Clip Cut Parks? That was a release, I think, from Renegade, was it?
It's Renegade, yeah.
That's a Renegade too.
So
I did a lot of that.
Okay, I didn't play it. I was worried that it was just gimmicky, so I never really took time for that one.
It's tough.
What did you guys think?
It's tougher than it looks, like especially if you play with the harder.
Okay.
If you play with the harder cards, it's not easy. Especially for first players when they start to realize, because you got a map, and as you start to cut, shapes that'll fit. If you cut a section of a board of your map off, it's gone. You crumple it up and it's gone. And so you start realizing like, oh, crud, I don't have enough stuff to finish my parks. So it's very 3D spatial, which if you struggle with getting your head around some of that, it's going to be a challenge. Which I do. Like 3D spatial games are not my strength, which my family loves to get out 3D spatial stuff and make me play it because of that.
It's like Dad has to lose. Let's bust this game out. So.
But it gets to be a little harder game. but yeah, and the cool thing with roll and writes, like that I wanted to throw in before we I have one more that's up and coming. Like I've got to play some cool stuff. Like I've gotten to play, really good ones. I've played some mediocre ones.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're quick.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning if I'm playing a mediocre game, I'm not an hour into a 3-hour bad game. Like I'm 20 minutes into a game that maybe I don't care for and I don't need to play it again. I don't feel like I wasted the entire game night because we just got to trudge through, finishing this game. And, you don't get that, get that same feeling.
I think a game night with roll and writes, just 20, 30-minute quick hits. I mean, dude, I'd go to that game night all day, just sit there, play a game. People get up and come and go. And so that's, roll and writes are where it's at. So
my friend Jason, who made the comment about clip cut, he came up with a roll and write on his own that he got a chance to play. That I don't want to talk about the theme or, some of the kind of his angle, but it was a lot of fun. It was fun to see that evolution of, what he was doing. It was something different than I had played before. I really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Very cool. Cool. Well, let's get into what we've been playing. And so, Jazz, what you been playing, man? What's been hitting the table at your house?
What's been hitting the table the most is Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I was fortunate enough to get a early copy of the new Secrets and Soirees expansion, so I'll have some content coming out on Wednesday for that. So I can't say anything else other than that. But it is I'll talk about the base game. The base game, it's the first time I played it. I enjoy it. I'm a fan of Mad King, the Castles of Mad King Ludwig. The one from who's the publisher of that one? Why can't I think of the name? Because it's a comic book publisher. I really enjoyed that, and I was like, oh, how much different is this going to be? And if you've played that, Between Two Castles is the one that you can just jump right into because the iconography is the same. So just check back on Wednesday to see what my thoughts are on the expansion.
Nice.
But that has been hitting the table a lot. I recently played the Gallerist. Let me actually go into my BG stats. I played the Gallerist for the first time. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I played On Mars was my first Lacerda game. I just took a headfirst dive into the deep end. So I still had a hard time wrapping my head around that when I played it. But I will say that playing that just gave me loads of experience just jumping into the Gallerist. I was able to pick up everything. Cool. Understanding Lacerda's like, take your turn, then your executive action, whether you want to take your executive action before or after your main turn. That's where I understand with his designs. It's trying to figure out, getting your executive actions kind of set up for your main turn and when it's going to be most optimal to use them before or after your turn or even use them at all. But that has been hitting the table. And I recently played Brass Lancashire, which I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to get my copy of Brass Birmingham. It's right there off the shelf.
Nice.
So, and then I've been playing a lot of Chai Tea for Two, which if you're a fan of Chai, you don't have to be a fan of Chai to the original to play this one. I love 2-player games. My ideal player count in my house is 2 because it's what it's me and my wife primarily. And my wife does not like to learn new games at all. Like she's the type, she understands, she's played many of the games on my shelf, but she's the type, she'll be happy playing, 20 games and just continuously trying to master her moves and trying to get the most optimal play out of games. So she enjoys that. Me, of course, when you review games and stuff, you're always the cultist and you're trying to keep up with stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's why it's been important for me to, make sure that I have a steady game group now, as, I have a group of friends who are, all 4 of us are vaccinated. So we get together on Tuesday nights, and that's where I've pretty much been getting most of my plays in. But yeah, nice. That and but so that's pretty much what I've been playing the most of the past 2-3 weeks.
Very cool. Got a little plug here. Playthrough of Chai Tea for Two on Gaming with Sidekicks Facebook page Wednesday night, 9:30 Eastern. So
Nice.
Check it out. So
awesome. Stuart and his wife have had a chance to get to play that the last couple weeks, and they're gonna do a live playthrough of it. And
that's great.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's a game that works for both of you guys. We had a question over on our Facebook page from Dave Force, who said, "I'm thinking about Roam and Roll by Dave Terzi, and he wanted to know if we had played it. I have not. I'm not familiar
I have
with
not. I've heard good things about it, but I have not played it. So
yeah, I haven't played that one either, but I know if you guys are Ilya and Tyler over at Cavre Studios, I know they are big fans of that one. I recently talked to them. They were able to get a copy of that. They played that, and I think the expansion that's set to come out, and they really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Perfect.
Very cool. So some of the
Ryan,
games.
what are you playing?
Yeah, some of the games that I've been playing, I taught a friend how to play Herbaceous the other day. He was having some car problems, and we just got to sit around and play card games here at the house. And Herbaceous, he really liked it. He really liked the set collection of it. He's a newer gamer, as in like he's played a lot of the classics, but he hasn't played a lot of the new modern games. And so every time he comes over, I'm showing him something new. He loves Meeple Land. He loves Welcome To, but Herbaceous was a good one. It was a hit for him. We played 2 back-to-back games, and it was a lot of fun. So haven't played this one in quite a while, and I'm glad that I busted out, because I was just looking for a fun card game to do a little gaming on a Saturday. And then Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle, one of my favorite games that they've made, Ladder 29, brought this for Mother's Day at my in-laws' house and taught my mother-in-law how to play. Man, Ladder 29 is such a good card game, and it feels like a classic. Every time I bust out Ladder 29, I play it, then I'm like, yeah, I'll have this in my collection for 40 years. And then I forget about it for 6 months. Then I play it again. I'm like, yeah, that'll be around forever. It's just a really good game. So
yeah, I just wrote it down, because when you say it's a classic and something you have in your collection for a long time, I've never heard of it. So I wrote that down.
Yeah. So the reason why I like this, it's a ladder climbing game versus a trick taking game. So this was what you're doing is you have these cards. I think it's numbered 1 through 15, and then you have some specialty cards. But everybody is you have a leader. The leader lays down a card, and you have to follow their lead. It's either going to be a pair, or it's going to be a single card. It's going to be a run of some sort, and there's a hierarchy to the color. The suit color, which is really cool. So it's an excellent game, and there are these things called hotspot cards that give you specific rules that only you have to obey. And so you are basically at the beginning of a round choosing how difficult you want to make that round, and how many points you want to get if you can win. So, and then last thing, Book of Villainy. You're going to see this on Kickstarter, coming from Gold Seal Games. For Tessa Elise, this is a really, really cool game. Me and my daughter were playing it, actually. That's why I was late messaging you guys the link to today's restream. Man, Book of Villainy is really cool. You're building a book, you're villains, and you're building a book chapter by chapter during the course of the game, and the writing on the cards is hilarious. It's awesome. My daughter is telling a joke to everyone in the family because it came off of one of those cards. So
nice.
Great. How old? How old? Just so people kind of know the.
Yeah. So my youngest is 13. So actually, I sat down to play the game, me and my wife, and then one of the kids needed a ride somewhere immediately. I was like, if I don't play this right now, I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow to play it. So my daughter, my 13-year-old, sat down. She jumped in, and we had a great time with it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
what about you, Isaac?
I've got a few. Sorry, I'm shutting off this. I don't know if you can even hear
getting all those messages.
Sorry.
Isaac's got a lot of fans.
Yeah,
a lot of fans, man.
So unfortunately, 2 weeks ago we were supposed to have Mark on from Grand Gamers Guild, and didn't work, and a lot of you guys know that. But we were chatting a little bit afterwards about some different games. And he's like, "Hey, if I got you a copy of Aldabas, could you play it?" And the campaign's over, I believe, in 3 days. It's the 18th. Yep. What is today? 17th. Oh, it's tomorrow. And I said, "Look, I'm interested. Send it my way." I got it Friday. I'm also pro Jazz Cruz. So
There you go.
I got it
Jazz
Friday.
fan.
I was
Thanks,
able to play it
Tony.
a handful of times. I was able to teach it to our friends, Becky and Jason. I was able to, get some other plays in of it. Wrote a quick preview of what I loved about it, and got a chance to just admire this artwork. I love that.
Really good.
Like, I love this art piece. Like,
Yeah.
just that alone is. Just that alone is amazing, and this is going to be a great game. And when I taught it to our friends, they backed it in the middle of playing it.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
honestly, the best part of this, like, you go on their Kickstarter page right now, you check this out for Grand Gamers Guild. This is a $20 Kickstarter. This is,
dude. When it launched,
cheap.
so I wrote the preview probably a week before the Kickstarter launched. When I saw the launch happen and I saw the price, I was like, what? Like, the price point for this game and what you're getting, the card game that's in that box is fantastic. So
it's a solid card game, and he's getting if you Kickstarter it, you get the $20 edition. The tokens are actually like wooden tokens. I'm guessing something similar to like Villagers, like how the tokens in there are more the like thicker wooden pieces. But like that's just bonus. Like, this is a $20 card game all day, right? You add that in, like, you're getting a steal with this game. So highly recommend that one.
Yep.
Another game I've had a chance to play here a couple times. I need to play it a little bit more. Speaking of Stonemaier stuff, is Red Rising.
Really like that.
I'm still trying to get my head around how I feel about it. It's Fantasy Realms. So if you've played Fantasy Realms from WizKids, and I think Jamie even says in the introduction, he talks about that it's Fantasy Realms inspiration for him for this. And so if you've played Fantasy Realms, you can say, I see where this is going. First off, the game's gorgeous. Like, the art's amazing, the production's amazing. Like, Stonemaier games never ever, like, they never cut on production. Like, production's always going to be great. But I need to play this. I played it with my son a couple times, so I need to play it with 3 or 4 players, kind of get the rhythm of it a little better. And like Stuart said, it's based off of a book series by Red Rising that I honestly want to read the book after just going through some of the cards.
Nice.
So, but this one, I liked it so far. I really like Fantasy Realms, but there's a little bit more going on in this, so I need to see how that all mixes together. So
nice.
Simon's got a good question there for you, I think, Ryan, because you probably played it the most.
Yeah, so on the fence for Aldabas, trying to figure out the long-term play of it. So, Simon, I think one of the strengths of Aldabas is the player count. So you can play with 2, 3, and 4 players. We originally played it at 2 players, and because there's the placement, the winning is basically there's a first place and a second place for each card category. In a 2-player game, you're just edging out your opponent. In a 3 and 4 player game, you're literally leaving the opponents in the dust. You're looking around and saying, okay, they're winning categories A, B, and C. I've got to take them over in this category. And so I think that replayability, first of all, it's very puzzly. The actions that are on the cards, I went with a vault, like focusing on my vault to basically store things in my vault. I focused really heavily one game, and like I really enjoyed that strategy. But there's other strategies like working on just focusing on your nobles, or working on like getting paid and forcing the money to run out to end the game before the other person can get an engine going. So I don't know. I really liked it, and I could see playing it over and over. I think it's gonna be a game that no matter what player count you play it at, you're gonna find something about it that you're like, oh man, that feels different than it did before, So
for sure. Well, we talked at least one person into it, so I got a.
There we go.
I can't really read that.
Nice.
Stuart got the back on it real quick, so
that's good. Yeah, so I put a link to the Kickstarter to Aldabas if you're interested. That's Grand Gamers Guild. It's a good card game. It's real good. So
nice.
Yep. So yeah. So I think that'll do it. So Jazz, Tell us about
Yes.
the Lobby of Hobbies. Tell us about why you started Lobby of Hobbies and what it is and how people can jump in.
Well, how I started it, I want to say a few years ago, actually on the tail end of Dice Masters kind of starting to fall off. Isaac and I had met for the first time in person because we chat over Facebook and stuff, just playing Dice Masters. But we met in person at Dice Master Nationals, and this is when he started making that transition. I think Gaming with Sidekicks was like just launched or was getting ready to launch, and he was telling me what he was doing. I was like, man, I've always kind of wanted to get into trying to find some way to create content, just to share my love of games to people that are completely new to the hobby, and I'm super thankful for Isaac because he kind of helped walk me through the steps. Anytime I had a question, Isaac was always there to answer it. He said, "Hey, Jazz, if you're interested, why don't you go check out Board Game Spotlight? Derek and Lizzie over there do some good content over there." Because at the time, my wife had surprised me saying, "Hey, have you ever thought of like doing something with content creating?"
Nice.
And she was in the process of possibly helping me out, although it's kind of changed a bit because she just because of her schooling and the time.
Yeah.
But so I started following Derek and Lizzie, and me and Derek connected, and we between Isaac and Derek, they were people that I can just pick their brains about stuff. But a buddy of mine, his name's Ronald Judge. He's big into video games, big into music, and he always just wanted to do a podcast. So I said, hey, why don't we just put our loves of our hobbies together and start off with a podcast, which is where we did. We started last year with the podcast, just talking about our love for board games, video games, and kind of how the two connect, and just life in general, just about who we are as people, to try to just to get people, regular day people, into the hobby, and that kind of just branched off where we started. And then he got super busy with his music production company that he couldn't really put the forth the time to as we wanted to. So he's still my person that I go to talk about games, to play games with, to get his opinion on stuff. But stay tuned because you're going to be seeing him very, very soon. But in January I started the YouTube. I was like, how can I keep this going? And he said, yeah, just run with the YouTube. He said, you'll do well with it. And that's what I did. The idea is we just want to introduce games to people. Hopefully, we can share something that they want to, check out. But the idea is us looking at games and we ask the question, can you dig it? Checking out the diversity of the game, like who's it for? How interesting or intriguing is the artwork? And then lastly, we asked, is the game good? Keep it simple. Those are the questions that people really want to know when it comes to the games when they're looking at reviews. So we pretty much do that. And then I get on and I talk about, honestly, whatever's on my mind regarding the board gaming hobby. So I do a segment called Lobby Talks, and it's pretty much anything. So I'm starting to get, some people in the comments who've been sending me messages, about different things that they want to talk about, different things that they're interested in. But I just love talking about this hobby and connecting with people. And
that's awesome.
For me, it's never been about, how big can I make something? It's just about being as inclusive to the people around me and the people that I've been meeting through this, which has been awesome. So it's
that's really cool.
The fan, I'm a fan of this hobby. I'm a fan of designers. I'm a fan of the content creators that I've been able to connect with. So having a family within, the people that I game with, but also having a family and a close knit with the content creators that I've met through this, it's just been awesome. And seeing how the communities just blend together, I've been really enjoying it. I'm along for the ride, just have fun. Same way, the same way I'm along for the ride when a game hits the table, I'm just in it for the fun.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I love it. I mean, the community part's so big, right? Like that's
exactly
what drew us into a game like Dice Masters, because the community was tight, they're good, and everybody just like, there was this like Tom Vassell. I remember talking to him about Dice Masters one point, and he's like, because he was real close to where we played like during nationals. He's like, there's just something weird about your guys' community because like you're all just very like you get along. It's not like watching like even the Clicks players was very different. Like it wasn't the same type of environment. So what I looked for in this board game area is there's a lot of us, right? There's a lot of people doing content, right? And I want to be involved with the people that were doing that same type of thing, right? Like what the family gamers are doing, right? Like what One Board's doing, what Lobby of Hobbies are doing, what one like Board Game Spotlight's doing, what a countless amount of people I've had to interact with. I can say like, man, these people are like family, right? You look at what we did with Derek coming back, like that that was literally all online people that just knew each other that were willing to come in and support a guy who's coming back from the military. Like I love that. Like
that's really cool.
That one, like that's the family, like Jazz said, like family within this game that I want to be a part of. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like I'm excited for what that'll look like.
Got to give a shout out to my goddaughter Lottie. She is in the comments saying hi.
Yeah.
So
nice.
That's awesome.
What is up, Lottie? So cool.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, we're gonna end the show. This has been fun, Jazz. Thank you so much for coming on the show and just hanging out with us and talking about roll and rights and gaming and just having fun with us, man. I really appreciate it. So
thanks. I love my time. I enjoyed it with you guys. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Hey, you guys check out Lobby of Hobbies. You can find it on YouTube, and you can also find the group, the Lobby of Hobbies group on Facebook. So, and then Isaac, where can they find Gaming with Sidekicks?
You can find us all over the place. On Facebook, we have a Gaming with Sidekicks board game community group you can join. Instagram and Facebook, along with our main page over at gamingwithsidekicks.com, are our biggest spot. Try and get our YouTube going a little bit, getting a little more live video. Obviously, Ryan and I being able to do this has helped us. And also, as Stuart mentioned earlier, him and his wife Rachel are going to be playing Chai Tea for Two this Wednesday on their Facebook page. So we'll get that out there and probably take that and throw it over on Facebook or on YouTube after it's live as well. So
awesome.
Just a lot of fun stuff. Trying to get our, like Jazz was just saying, just trying to share what we love. Right? We love this game. It's the games we like with the people we love. And that's what we're trying to share.
Absolutely. Cool. Visit us online, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of those places at One Board Family. We've got some different types of videos that are coming up in kind of plotting and planning about some different types of videos that are not review-based videos that are going to be coming in upcoming weeks. I cut a chunk out of my thumb, so I thought it probably wouldn't be a good idea to do those up-close hand shots with different pieces while a chunk of my thumb is missing. So that happened yesterday. So delaying those videos just a couple days, but you'll see them eventually. So
that's fair. It's gloves. Just get gloves.
I'll just get some gloves, like who out there is doing like video content with gloves on? Like, come on. We've got our own thing going on. So anyway.
That's perfect.
Yep. Cool. All right. That'll do it. Thank you guys for joining us. And that's it. See you in 2 weeks on the next Game Chat. See ya.
Have a good night,
guys.
Bye.